One of the unexpected perks of choosing this particular place to stay in Girona is that there's another house on the property, and there's a South African family living there right now. And they have three kids, 14-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And I've gotten to know Kelly, the mother, and she's really fun and has a lot of interesting things going on. So one of the cool things that she's doing is she's painting. I don't know where she's finding the time, but she has a really unique approach. She's trying to take advantage of the little pieces of time that she finds, and I wanted to share what she's doing with you because I think it is pretty unique and awesome.
Okay, so you've been here. I know, right? So okay, so you've been here since February, but you intended to come for 6 weeks,
Yes.
and it all just sort of went sideways.
We decided to come for 6 weeks because we had a little one that was 12 weeks old, and we thought that if we start with a bigger base and just get him settled into this new life, we would be able to then after that move a little bit easier. At the same token, we had friends here. So in all of Europe, wherever we could go, that we could find connections, we would. So that if we needed a doctor or someone that spoke English, it would be a little bit easier to find.
Yeah.
So the first couple of weeks were great, and then by week 4, we weren't really on top of the Spanish news because it was all in Spanish and we weren't too worried about the language because we were going to be moving around so much. And I was getting vegetables and fruit one afternoon at this little fruit and veg store, and the guy said he has to get rid of everything because they're closing tonight. And I was like,
What is happening?
the government has said everything is closing.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I phoned my friend. We were actually supposed to do something that evening. And I phoned her and I said, Ali, this is what the guy said. What's happening? And she phoned her husband because she also didn't know.
Oh wow.
And then obviously a little bit of Googling, and turns out that then the boys had to go grocery shopping because no one knew how deep in lockdown we would actually be.
Yeah.
So
I know.
that
And then you
was-
told me about the toilet paper and the
and the serviettes and-
serviettes.
Daryl who and JP were grocery shopping because we don't know what's opening, what's closed. It was a complete nightmare. And they came home with food that we would never normally cook. Do you know?
Because everything just suddenly locked out.
Yes. And they came home. So they came home with toilet paper. So they went a bit crazy.
With toilet paper.
Toilet paper. And they came home with bags and bags of serviettes. And I was like,
Of what?
serviettes.
Oh, napkins.
Yes. Paper napkins, okay? We still have napkins, okay?
and the things, the roasts that we would never make, and like huge Sunday roasts, beef roasts that wouldn't even fit into.
Right into your toaster oven. Wow,
that was-
incredible.
At that time, we were in an apartment on the river, which was so beautiful to our bedroom had windows along the balcony, and you would literally look at all the apartments, you know, those famous along the river. And we actually got to know certain people and what their habits were, and it was crazy. Like it was fun. So it was quite nice. But then with lockdown and being in an apartment and really not being able to move at that stage, it became quite hard. The apartment became a little bit small.
Yeah, with 3 kids.
Exactly.
For me, coming in, I distinctly chose this place because, well, first of all, I didn't actually know it had another
Neighbors that would be bothering you.
So that was an absolute perk for me. And once I found out, you know, that
can
it was
speak English.
you all and you can speak English, that's helpful. And it's been better than I expected in that regard. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about your paintings, and you've had some formal training?
No, I did art in school, but that was a long time ago. And I did it because my father always said, make sure you've got an avenue that's not just academic, that's not just worry, focus, something that takes you away from everything. And so I was never this brilliant budding artist, but I really just loved being able to. You don't have to be. I suppose it's everyone's how you perceive it. Everyone's perception is different of what art actually really is. So when you look at pieces of work that look like a 5-year-old did them, so many people love that. And so many people go, oh, my child could do better than that.
Yeah.
That's really not the point.
Yeah.
However, I forgot what having a 12-week-old baby is really like. And moving to a country where we wouldn't have a support structure at all.
Yeah.
So I forgot that I actually wouldn't probably have much time. And I think that's where I started playing around with new ideas, things that I wouldn't have to open a tube of paint and mix a color, and then that color would actually dry out because I wouldn't have time to get back to. I found that I just now have 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe an hour, but not often an hour. So work tends to sit, and then I spend time on it, and then it sits on the table more than anything, and then I spend time on it.
Yeah. So I'm curious.
That's why I went to the mini stuff.
How does it feel when you put yourself in, when you have the time and you like?
I completely
jump
focus
in.
on what I'm doing.
So it's just
I
the
actually
zen,
yes. And
even if
that's-
it's for 5 minutes.
yes, and that's what I love about it.
Okay, what is this?
Sure,
Because it is so yummy. It's some South African special. No.
Oh, do you know what he does? He puts a little bit of condensed milk in the coffee with cream.
That's the ticket.
We don't do that at home.
So, tell me about the mini stuff.
So this specific piece that I'm working on, obviously this is like real early, okay? The circles are just a guide for size because I'm trying to obviously do them little. These are specific South African products that I'm using it as an example of things that you know or miss, or especially when you're in another country and that was something that reminds you of home, or so that's a nice example. Then these aren't framed, but these are also just examples of work. This specific place actually does quite a bit of cycling in Girona.
This is a company. The service course is a local company.
Yes. They set up touring for a couple of days, they rent out bikes, they do all sorts of things like that. This is a friend's jersey. He got some South African colours, or South African medal, gold medal. He was a champ, and his Mitchelton Scott, they, whatever team you're on, if you get your SA jersey or whatever country you're from, they then take your specific jersey and they adapt it to that country for that specific race. So that was the South African one, and it's just an example more than anything of a frame within a frame, and how the reality is cyclists want to be able to frame their jerseys, but how many can you frame in your house without it actually just taking over? So the frame within the frame is like you're still framing that jersey, you just completely changed it.
Your husband is a bike rider.
He is,
And so is that...
But he's not a professional.
Right, but is that...
that's the only connection to cycling that I have.
Sorry, dear.
Hello, how are you? I'm coming to fetch work. Collecting? Yes.
Tota la secció de marisc congelat, amb foie refrigerats o afumats i plats preparats refrigerats de Nadal. Amb un 50% de Nadal. Pots tenir clar per la teva compra diària i per cor al supermercat del Corte Inglés.
Esto es muy fácil. Que a mí, que nunca he dado un parte, me subes el precio.
I'll give. Oh, I love it. This to you? I love it.
Wow.
That is stunning. Hey!
That's
great!
It's better when the plastic is off, let me tell you. Because now that adds the reflection.
Yes,
When we speak about this,
yeah.
The reflection's gone.
That's
Stunning.
beautiful.
Oh,
So you seem pretty pleased.
yeah, I am. When the plastic comes off, it just
Yeah.
adds a whole new... I'll take it off at home.
So Kelly made this special gift for Joseph for his birthday. Joseph. And his beautiful wife. Merci. And it is the house. So how did was he surprised?
He cried.
He cried, of course. I just thought it was so touching. It made me want to cry.
He said, this is so sentimental.
Yeah.
He was like, you did this.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful gift.
Do you know, the big thing about miniature art is it becomes a talking point. Because people see this frame, and especially the bigger frames, you're drawn to saying, well, what is that? What is so tiny?
Yeah.
And then you go to that painting, that little tiny painting, and it becomes a talking point. And that's what we so often need, is things to, because everyone's stuck in their phones and technology, and you often forget to have conversations.
Thank you. Pleasure. And by the way, I'm going to be at your doorstep every day looking for one of these.
They're not, eh?